Well, it is a local film currently out in the cinemas, so do go and check it out. It's 3 days to go. And going from a humorous look at a family dealing with unforeseen loss to taking a very serious look at when one of our own Expresso family members had her life similarly forever changed in a space of 6 minutes. You never know when life will take an unexpected turn, and this is something our leading parenting expert, Nikki Bush, tragically learned in the aftermath of the sudden death of her husband, Simon, after a home invasion in late 2017. Now we sit with her again to chat about a resource she is sharing that people can use for peace of mind in the event of an unexpected happening to our dearest loved ones.
Oh, Nikki, it's always good to chat to you, and I think we all remember the moment when we heard about it and we read about it, and I think we even called you on the show to extend our condolences. What has life been like in the aftermath of Simon's passing, and how does one even begin to deal with that, the paperwork, the bureaucracy of it all?
So Leanne, that's what we're talking about today, is 3 little words that my financial advisor said to me 3 days after my husband's death. He arrived at my house and he said, "And so it begins."
Oh my word.
And it was one of those little moments where you go, what are we in for? We had absolutely no idea. But when you lose somebody, whether it's through disease or trauma and tragedy as we experienced, it becomes a trail of paper. It's about paper, it's about money, and it's about memories. That's what you're actually left dealing with. And the problem is that nobody talks about this. And I suddenly became invisible in a massive bureaucracy that is so full of tripwires and documentation, and people who are not actually trained to deal with death. So call center operators, the minute you call in and you say, "I'm phoning about an extended warranty on my car, we have a policy with you, and it was in my husband's name, he's passed away, and I need to change it over into my name." Well, they don't have a script for death.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the first thing they say is, "I'm sorry, ma'am, we can't speak to you, we need to speak to the policyholder."
Well, that's impossible.
And I'm like going, "Sorry,
Did you not
hear me?"
Yeah.
It got to a point where I don't lose my temper.
Yeah.
I have learned to swear. I have learned to lose my temper. I've learned to drink whiskey.
Yeah.
I have wanted to commit murder. I have screamed down the phone because it has been so unbelievably frustrating. Financial people and lawyers speak in legalese. They send these long letters which are received by service providers like cell phone service providers, etc. And the clerks in the office who don't have a legal degree open the letters, the emails, and they just see the words deceased and estate, and they suspend your account. Both cell phone providers suspended our accounts. Telkom suspended our account. My car was no longer under warranty because it was in my husband's name, that particular policy. I was driving around for months with no extended warranty.
Oh, wow.
You know, and so here we are dealing with a trauma, and we have absolutely no comms with the rest of the world.
Well, Nikki, I'm getting goosebumps here because this is the last thing for someone going through grief, someone going through loss to have to deal with. But I believe you've come up with a document called What If?
So, interestingly enough, Zoe, I already had a what if file.
Okay.
What if happens? Somebody's going to die in your life at some point, and if it's your partner or spouse, you really need to be as prepared as possible on a practical level. You can never prepare yourself emotionally. And my husband developed a heart condition about 5 years ago, and that's when I put together a what-if file. So in that file, I already had ID documents, copies of passports, copies of marriage certificates, antenuptial contracts, bank statements, utility bills, you know, your electricity, water, all that stuff. The problem was that when my husband tragically was murdered, I hadn't updated the file. So all the utility bills were out of date.
Oh, wow.
Even the financial planning documents were 4 years out of date.
Okay.
So you've got to keep it up to date. And I've developed a PDF, which our viewers can actually download. It's pinned up on the Nikki Bush Speaker Facebook page right now. And there are actually 43 items that you need to have in your file, which would make processing so much easier. So the first thing you get asked for, if you've got children, they want copies of birth certificates to prove that they are your spouse's children. But in certain instances, when you're claiming things like life insurance and extended education benefits and stuff, they don't just want the birth certificate, they want the unabridged birth certificate, or they want a vault copy birth certificate. So why not get all those things done and get them in your file now? My marriage certificate was insufficient for any claim. I had to get an unabridged marriage certificate. I didn't even know you could get such a thing. So get that paperwork in order, because it will save you so much angst in the long run. And even passwords, you know, can you access each other's passwords and bank accounts and utility accounts? Because if you don't have an up-to-date utility account, you can't transfer any ownerships, nothing. So we were stuck for months, unable to do a lot of things because we were waiting for paperwork to come in.
Wow, Nikki, that is such an incredible resource. Thank you, thank you. And it's almost sad that this had to come from such a tragedy in your life, but I think in the long run it's going to help so many others who might not have access to this kind of information, because you have become the resource and your life experience has become the resource to them. So thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
She's definitely our human potential expert, and we love our Nikki Bush on the show. And you can get this What If file PDF. Go to nikkibush.com and download it, and make sure that you are as prepared as you can be.